Hi, I'm TJ Jones, the host of the State of the Saints podcast, and I ask that you like, share, and comment on this video. Thanks for watching. All I gotta say is, who dat? Hey, what's going on, Who Dat Nation? It is yours truly, TJ Jones, and yes, I am the host of the State of the Saints podcast. Thank you all so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. Thank you for choosing the State of the Saints podcast. Shouts out to everybody in the chat. Shouts out to everybody listening around the country, around the world. I feel like it's been a minute since I did an episode. Man, it's been like last Thursday or something like that. It's been absolutely crazy, man, trying to balance what's going on at the radio station, and I'm trying to grow some grass. I'm putting some seeds down in my yard, and then, man, had a real bad rainstorm. But thank you all so much for being here. Really do appreciate it. We're going to continue our talks about the mock draft. We've been talking a little bit about it. We've covered 4 rounds of the NFL draft and where the Saints could go. Today, we're going to be focusing on round number 5. And before I get started, I want to go ahead and do a quick recap for those that may not have been here. This is a little bit of a recap here. The mock draft. In the first round, I have the Saints taking Nolan Smith, the edge rush out of Georgia. Round number 2, Drew Sanders, linebacker out of Arkansas. Round number 3, we have Kenny McIntosh, running back out of Georgia. And in the 4th round, we had Clayton Tune, a quarterback out of Houston. So that's just a little quick recap for all those that may not have been here, may not have seen the last couple episodes of the State of the Saints podcast. But there you have it. If you're looking at this, you think that I have some type of obsession with red. I was putting this together, and I was like, man, every guy that I said the same was going to draft has the color red on for some apparent reason, different variations of red, but has nothing to do with that. I mean, if you look at all of these guys, all these guys can contribute right away in a big way, for the exception of Clayton Tune, a guy who I feel like is extremely smart and a guy that kind of fits that mold of what the Saints want in a quarterback, as far as like the way that he actually plays the position, and also some of his ability to improvise outside of the pocket. So there you go. That's the 4 guys that I said that the Saints would go after in the first 4 rounds in the NFL draft. And now we move on to the 5th round. Now, if you've been following the New Orleans Saints, you know that the New Orleans Saints have 2 5th-round picks. They have the 146th pick, and then they have the 165th overall that they acquired from the Philadelphia Eagles via the trade for C.J. Gardner-Johnson. But if you have been following episode number 1, you know that I had the New Orleans Saints moving up to acquire Nolan Smith, and one of those 5th-round picks were given to the New England Patriots, in order for them to move up with a combination of, the 29th pick and a pick in next year's draft. So I'm asking everybody, if you have not checked out part 1, to check it out, and I have it out in full detail. So one of those 5th round picks won't be there. So the Saints will only have one 5th round pick. And with that, I got the Saints in round number 5 taking Bryce Ford Wheaton, the wide receiver out of West Virginia, 62 catches, 675 yards, 7 touchdowns, second team all Big 12. And as you can see right here, man, this dude is the absolute truth, 6'4", 221 pounds, according to his combine. He ran like a 4.3 at the combine. So this is a guy that's big. He's physical. And one thing that I liked about Bryce Ford Wheaton is his ability to hand fight off the line of scrimmage. A lot of guys, they got that speed, but they count on their speed in order for them to get that separation off the line. This guy is big. He's physical, and he can run away from people. He definitely can. And also, he can help you out when it comes to the red zone. Like if this guy gets into the right system, he can be that Michael Thomas type receiver that you need him to be. A lot of the qualities that he has reminds me of Michael Thomas, maybe for the exception of the speed. But if you notice, man, the quarterback is just putting the ball up there, 50-50 balls, good ball placement, and I mean, just good body control by this guy. And I've been absolutely enamored by him since, I had opportunity to kind of, see him, as a person, like interact with other people. He's the type of guy that has like really good qualities. Seems like he's gonna be a really good teammate. And like I said, I just like what he has to bring to the table. And no matter what the Saints decide to do with Michael Thomas, if you get this guy like this in your system, I feel like he can do some really big things. You already got your number 1 and your number 2 receivers, wherever you want to place it with Chris Olave and Michael Thomas, wherever you want to put it at this point. But you also can bring in a guy like this that can learn, from a guy like Michael Thomas, that can learn, from a guy like Brian Edwards, who's also on the team. But I just think that this dude can be a really good player. And in a right situation, I think that he can give you something, that is special. Now, when we look at the 5th round, I think people need to understand, if you find somebody that is a number 1 guy in the 5th round, then your scouts are doing an outstanding job. If you're getting guys that get drafted in the 5th, 6th, and 7th round and they are making a team, your scouts are doing a really good job. So a guy like Bryce Ford Wheaton, I'm not looking for him to get 100 catches. I'm not looking for this guy to go out there and be giving you 1,400 yards a year. Now, that would be great if he did, but I do feel like, him being in the 5th round, he can be that middle of the pack guy, maybe be a chain mover for you. If you need a big body in the red zone, he can be that for you coming in the 5th round. Now, he is a little bit of a work in progress, man. There's some, like, even though he's fast, it seems like to me like he suffers with, his ability to separate from individuals. Like, I like the fact that, if he's doing some hand fighting, he's a larger receiver. So, he's going to be able to get off the line of scrimmage with that strength that he has and that ability. So that's a plus right there. If you can work on this guy, ability to be able to use the speed that he has and capitalize on that, I mean, I think that he can be a really good down the field threat. And not to mention, his vertical is off the chains as well. So there's a lot of things that you can do with a guy like Bryce Ford Wheaton. And I think that he could be a really good find in the 5th round. I think that some teams may be willing to pass on him because of some of the things that he deals with. But the Saints, to me, bringing this guy in, I think that what his skill set is as of right now can be beneficial, and he can slowly work on some of the things that he needs to build on. The Saints already have receivers that I feel like can kind of pick up the slack. But this guy, to me, once again, like, you put him in the right system, you get him with those receivers, I think that he can be a really good receiver, good addition to the New Orleans Saints team. So I'm going Bryce Ford Wheaton in round number 5. But that's just a quick recap, ladies and gentlemen, for the first 5 rounds. I think that Bryce Ford Wheaton would be a good find in round number 5. But let me go ahead and read some of your comments, and then we'll go ahead and go from there. Let's see. Jazz Sessions with TJ. What is it? Who you be with? Who that? Happy Easter. Yeah, man. Happy Easter, everybody. Hope everybody had a good Easter weekend. You know, I had a really good weekend. I ended up, like I said, being inside for the most part because it rained out here in South Carolina quite a bit. You know, so I was mostly inside throughout the whole entire weekend. But you know, I was able to work on some of my editing skills. I did a little photo shoot with Paxton. You know, I did like a little picture and, you know, put a little background. So, I mean, it was a pretty fun weekend. Spent a lot of time with Paxton this weekend. Didn't really do too much of anything. Hope everybody had a good one so far, though. Let's see. I got the Saints taking TJ Jones as a podcast. Well, you know, I've been doing this for going on year number 6. So I appreciate that. I'm a seasoned veteran by now. But thank you for the $2, Josh. Let's see. It says West Bank, baby. Yeah, shouts out to everybody that resides on the West Bank, from the West Bank, and shouts out to Jefferson Parish. TJ, my guy, what's good? Hey, everything's fine, man. Everything's great. Happy to be here. Jerry says he's here. He says he hope everyone had a good weekend, whether you do Easter or not. Hope all is well. Yeah, man, I hope everybody had a good weekend as well. You know, like I said, I mean, Easter is always a fun weekend. Always a lot of things going on. Everybody waiting on the on the other page, TJ. I'm not sure exactly what we're talking about there. What other page we're referring to? But that's basically the guy that I had as far as the wide receiver, Bryce Ford Wheaton. You know, I think, like I said, I think that the New Orleans Saints are pretty good at the wide receiver position, but I feel like you still have to make sure that you have enough depth. Like the last couple of years, we've really seen the New Orleans Saints suffer at the wide receiver position when it comes to injuries. These injuries have been plaguing the New Orleans Saints for I don't know how long. And, you know, I just think that, you know, you got to be able to have a backup plan because it has shown you that the guys that you have had available have not been able to stay healthy throughout the entire season. So adding more depth and guys that can make plays, you know, young guys that can come in and contribute, I think that is a plus. And like I said, in the 5th rounds, the 6th rounds, the 7th rounds, those are the rounds that I feel like if you find a guy that makes the team and he's making impact, that's a testament to your scouting department. That's a testament to all the guys that work hard, that's burning the midnight oil to find those diamonds in the rough. But I just think that when you look at the New Orleans Saints and what they have been doing this past offseason, what you're seeing is a team that is trying to make sure that they add depth and also draft and sign positions of need. And I think that that's extremely smart. And when you do that, you know, when you're signing guys that you need as far as positions, you can go out here and you can find somebody, or you can kind of splurge a little bit. So I like the fact that the Saints have addressed positions right away, but it's also given us, you know, a lot of unanswered questions when it comes to the draft. But it's a good thing, right? Because everything else would just be a plus. You know, it'd just be, you know, something that you add on. Guys don't have to really just come in and just contribute just right away and just have to knock your socks off. You know, they can kind of gradually come in, you know, do their thing, be an impactful player, and also learn and develop because you don't have that pressure of being the savior of a franchise. You know, you look at the 1st round pick, rather they move up to get a guy like Nolan Smith or they wait at number 29 and get someone else. There's no one that's coming in that we're looking at like, man, this guy's going to be the savior of the franchise. And I think it has a lot to do with the fact that you have a bunch of guys that are on a team that can make plays and that can do big things right now. So I think that that's a really good thing for the New Orleans Saints. Let's see. Already read that one, but feel free to put your comments in the chat. What I'm gonna do is I'll just go ahead and I'll open up the phone lines right now. I haven't done this in a while, but yeah, I want to know what you all think. You know, what the Saints' direction, what they need to do as far as going to these rounds. What do you feel like the Saints should do? We're focusing on rounds 1 through 5. Okay, 6 and 7 would be other episodes ahead. So Um, I just basically recapped like the rounds that I did. So if you want to kind of chime in, tell me what you think the Saints need to do in the first round or some of these other rounds that we addressed. Whether you agree or you disagree, feel free to chime in. We'd love to hear from you. Says the Vikings would have won if they would have played y'all instead of the Giants. Um, I don't know if they would have won or not. You know, to be honest with you, I think that yeah, if you're looking at it from a historical standpoint, yeah, the Vikings have been the Achilles heel over the last 5 to 6 years for the Saints. But I think that the Saints, I think that because how they played them in London, I think that they will have better experience. And it wasn't like it was a lot of mistakes that the Saints made in that game versus the Vikings in London. You know, I think that the ability to be able to run the football. There was some plays that they didn't capitalize on. I don't know if it would have been a different story. You know, it wasn't like Kirk Cousins was out there lighting it up. You know, like for some apparent reason, Kirk Cousins seemed to always light it up against the New Orleans Saints. You know, but not that particular time. It seemed like they kind of had him, you know, at bay. But well, when it comes to the Vikings, you know, I think this is Kirk Cousins. I think this might be like his last little moment to shine. Like it's put up a shut up time. I mean, Kirk Cousins is probably, you know, to me, he probably got the best agent in all of football because I ain't never seen nobody play as average as he is and just make as much money as he has throughout his entire career. Like this dude making like like top quarterback money and about as average as a C plus. I don't understand how that happens, but I mean, shouts out to his agent. Everybody wish they could have an agent like Kirk Cousins has. But we're gonna go ahead and go to Chosen. Chosen, how you doing, man?
What's going on, Tim? Been a while, man. How you doing?
Yeah, yeah, it's been all right, man. How you been?
Oh man, I've been doing pretty good, bro. A lot of drastic changes. Good drastic changes though, man. I'm moving better positions career wise, as far as jobs. I just got offered a job for the state that I've been
Mm-hmm.
trying to get for a very long time, so I'm good with that. Your boy finally finna get them benefits. He been seeking.
Oh man, that's awesome. Hey, that's awesome, man. Hey,
Yeah,
it's always
man.
good to have them benefits, that medical and that dental. You know what I'm
Yes, especially because as my grandmother would say, I am blind as a bat. So I
saying?
definitely need that. And started my podcast, bro. Finally got it with Spotify that I'm launching. You know, we talked about it like a year or so back when I was trying to get it together. So
Right,
finally
right.
getting all the legal work and all the paperwork behind it, finally getting it going, bro. Got the TikTok jumping. Got the music jumping. I just been taking this time, brand, just trying to get myself as a brand. You know what I'm saying, lately, bro, and then still trying to keep up with Saints football. Just so I'm just taking advantage of this off season and just
Mm-hmm.
doing my little part because I know once football season come in, bro, everything get put on the back burner.
Right.
You know what
Yeah,
I'm
pretty
saying,
much,
bro?
man.
You
It's a
know,
good thing, man. Congratulations to you. Just can continue to press and continue to work hard, man. And
oh
you
yeah.
know, you will definitely get the results that you want.
Yes, sir. But about these Saints, man, I really don't have any complaints about it because honestly, Tim, if y'all know me in the chat, I always be asking what's going on in the college world. I'm just now starting to follow college football, so a lot of these
Mm-hmm.
guys y'all be recommending, I have to go do my research. Like you, I'm a bit of a historian. I like to go do research. I like to go
Mm-hmm.
and see what was there before me, see what I missed, and then I
Right.
get my opinion. So a lot of these guys, I went back. It's not bad picks, but I would say for the Saints coming up, I would like for us to really focus more on that left tackle, left guard, bro, if we could, because like I said,
Mm-hmm.
I like Penning and I like our line, but you know, we tend to get hurt a little bit, bro. And also I wouldn't mind if we get an extra, like you said, an extra receiver, like Bryce, whether if it's Full Wheaton or any other these guys coming out. I'm liking some of the Ohio State guys who that's
Mm-hmm.
eligible, and because you know we like Ohio State players,
Right.
but yeah, I say anybody else that can go and you know what I'm saying, I guess help along with Olave because we, like I said before, we seen him go down. So
Right.
and you know we know he not the biggest one in the room. He still got to have a little more weight. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
I just figured we should get another Olave type, or if you want to go another big body receiver, I'm cool with that. But I definitely want us to focus more on receiver and that left guard, left tackle kind of.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just little pieces like that. But other than that, man, I have no arguments. I think everything else pretty much, for the most part, solidified. But yeah, and that D
Yeah.
line, the interior. It don't have to be a guy that can give you double-digit sacks, which would be good. But like I say, man, we had 5 or 7 compared with 3 guys. If we get one person give us 5, I basically say we winning at this
Right.
point. If one person could give us 3, 4, 5, we winning. Because I mean,
Right.
last year, my goodness, bro, it was bad. So I just
Yeah.
want us to go ahead and capitalize on those positions we need. Focus more on the O line. I know everybody they roll their eyes when we talk about O line, but y'all don't realize, bro, that O line make or break a team, bro. Like.
Yep.
You can have all the talent, but they ain't got no time to do nothing. If that quarterback running for his life, we ain't gonna see nothing.
Right.
That O line is that engine, bro. So
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we just need to focus on that, man. I'm gonna let you rebuttal.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think that the reason why I'm looking at like some of these wide receivers, when you look at guys like Shaheed and you look at guys like Olave, now Olave ended up doing what the Saints really honestly didn't want him to do in year one. I think when the Saints signed Jarvis Landry and they end up, having Michael Thomas, they were looking for Chris Olave to be that take the top off the defense type receiver down, throw the ball down the field for Jameis Winston. But
Right.
when you had Landry get hurt and you had Michael Thomas get hurt, the best thing about all this is Chris Olave is a above average route runner. So he was able to get in those little soft spots in order for him to, make these catches. But the reality is the Saints need that big body receiver. I dubbed them the 3-and-out boys for a reason. It was the fact that they didn't have their third down guy, that guy that you can trust. I talk about guys like Anquan Bolden and Willie Snead and all these guys. Like, people don't really give these guys credit, but when it's 3rd down and 5, man, you got a dog that's going to get you that first down, that's going to find that soft spot. That's a plus. And when you have a guy like, and I also look at guys like Colston. Like Colston, they use a line Colston up in the slot, you know what I'm saying, to move the chains. You need that type of guy at the wide receiver position. You want speed. Yeah, you want guys to take top off defense, but you also want some guys that's going to be able to win some of this hand fighting too, man. Because if a cornerback is jamming you at the line of scrimmage, you need a big physical guy. Like, I love hearing the story about when Sean Payton talked about how he lined up against Michael Thomas and Michael Thomas jammed his hand. You know what I'm saying? Because how strong he is. Sometimes you need those big physical receivers. So that's why I'm looking for those possession guys. No disrespect to Michael Thomas, but I need to see this for a full season. It's been a minute, and then you can also look at guys like Brian Edwards, who I got a lot of respect for. I mean, he's from this area. Everybody, crazy. Every time I talk about, me talking about the Saints, they always talk about Brian Edwards because he went to school not too far from here. But I need to see that, but I want to see somebody that's going to be a possession receiver, that's going to be able to move the chains, that's going to be that dog in the slot when you need him to be, and be able to win that matchup against some of those smaller slot corners. So that's the reason why I'm looking at it. I think the Saints got speed. Like Shaheed, you got speed. Chris Olave, you got some speed.
You got speed.
Yeah. And then you add on like maybe a guy that's probably going to be an undrafted guy. Like I'm looking at this guy named Derek Davis out of TCU. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's probably going to be like a special teams guy. The Saints probably can acquire. He may not even get drafted. He ran the fastest 40, but I don't know if he's going to get drafted, and now he still leaves a lot to be desired. But there's so many different guys that can go out there and that you can acquire, man. But I'm more focused on these possession guys because there was an issue moving the chains on 3rd down. And we know that, if you look at Derek Carr and you look at his history chosen, he likes to utilize the middle of the field. Like he likes to check it down to the running back.
He kill his zone.
Yeah,
he kills zone. He's a zone killer.
Exactly. That's the reason why you had Waller. He was eating. Yeah, I mean, so many of the tight ends and stuff like that pretty much eat. But I mean, it's good to have a guy like Juwan Johnson, but you also need a possession receiver as well.
And that was all gonna make a few more points while I let you get out of here, get the rest of the callers. I know you mentioned Edwards. It's funny you say that. I was trying to do my little homework on him last night. I don't know too much about him, so I'm glad you kind of brought him up. Seemed like he'll be a good fit. Like you said, you don't need nobody to go get you 1,000 and every game a buck 52 touchdowns. You don't need that. You just need those, those 3rd down, 3rd and 2nd, 3rd and 4th. Let those possessions keep moving the chains. Also, you mentioned Juwan Johnson. Do you think the Saints? I hope I'm not stepping on your mock draft, but do you think the Saints should roll what we have at tight end, or if you think we find a tight end, will we do it, or is that the purpose of Full Wheaton as far as a possession guy, or do you think do we go on that tight end route as well? Because like I said, I like Juwan Johnson.
Yeah.
And one more other question that I had was, with Shaheed playing a bigger role, do we look for another returner, or do we trust him to do both? That's something I had to think about too. Because if Shaheed doing this, he's supposed to be our return man, and Hardy gone. Do we trust what we have as far as Quan Baker or Merritt, or do we go out and we find another speed guy in the draft or undrafted guy, or do we just let Shaheed do both? Like, how do we address that return game?
Well, I think at this particular time, you let Shaheed do both, because he's not the number one or number two receiver. He's more of that 3 or that 4. So now if somebody was to get hurt, you might want to maybe take away, like, maybe the kick returns or something like that from him, because you're gonna rely on him to be able to make some of those plays. But right now, the way the pecking order is at the wide receiver position, where everybody's able-bodied, I think that you keep him where he is. But like I said, if somebody was to go down, then you bring him on. But as far as the tight end position, look, I put it to you like this. I don't think anything is going to happen until after the draft anyway, because maybe the Saints are going into the draft. Maybe they feel like, because, okay, for the example, they were going to sign Foster Monroe, right? But unfortunately, the issue with Hopkins lymphoma, bless that brother, they were going to sign him. So I think that what the Saints are going to do, they're going to try to see if they can find maybe a tight end in the draft. And if they can't find a guy that they're happy and satisfied with, you might see other guys, be able to step up. I mean, we still haven't seen what Lucas Kroll can do. We've seen, like, last all season during training camp, he made some plays, man. So maybe that can be the guy that can take a step forward. I think Adam Troutman kind of showed some promise. I think that injury that he had in that Cincinnati Bengals game when he was going in motion, I think it was a lot more serious than they made it seem. No guy is going to go in motion like that and just collapse. You know what I'm saying? That ain't nothing seriously wrong with him. Like more times than not, it's something serious underlining. But I like the way that he has evolved as a blocker, and also Juwan Johnson' ability to be a pass catcher. So I look at maybe the Saints looking at a tight end in some of these later rounds. Depends on, like, if they feel like a guy could be a good fit maybe in some of the earlier rounds. But I think that anything the Saints do is going to happen during the draft or after the draft, when it comes to the tight end position. And if you don't see anything, if you don't see any movement for the tight end, I think that's a testament to how Lucas Kroll has developed as a tight end. If you see, like, they might go into, like, OTAs, mini camp and stuff like that to see that. And if you don't see any movement at the tight end position, if they don't draft the guy, then that means that Lucas Kroll maybe took that step forward that they wanted him to take.
For sure. Appreciate it, man. Let's get out of here, TJ. One more thing before I go. Troutman, bro, if y'all watch them run plays, I know we talked about them, but all them Taysom Hill power runs between him and Ramczyk, them boys like the Twin Towers. That dude, he moved that hole. He pushes him back. So Troutman, that blocking, bro, it probably goes without being recognized, but all them runs to the right, just pay attention to Troutman, bro. He get that hole going between him and Ramczyk. I'm liking that. So hopefully, man, we could just build off what we had last season and be optimistic, y'all. I mean, I ain't gonna lie, Carolina making the moves, but like I say, you still gotta they probably a quarterback away from challenging us like every year. But other than that, we can't be scared of them, y'all. Because if we feel like we the best, then we got to play them eventually, right? So so quick, we can't duck smoke. Stop ducking smoke. A lot of people be scared in this free agency. Oh man, hey, look, bro, that's what we want. We say we the best, we the kings of the South. We're gonna have to face them anyway. So we can't we gotta stop ducking smoke, y'all. But appreciate it, Tim.
All right, no problem, Chosen. You take it easy, man.
You too.
All right. Yeah. Before I get to Josh, hold on one second, Josh. Yeah, I just wanna say, I mean, if you look at Adam Troutman, like that big play was week 1 versus the Falcons, and that big run that Taysom Hill had, just go back and look. I mean, Adam Troutman was extremely instrumental to that play breaking open, him and Ryan Ramczyk. And I'm glad that Chosen mentioned that. I think when we look at Adam Troutman, I think the expectations of what we thought he would be, I think that is the frustrating thing. And that's why we just kind of just dub him as like a lost cause. But when you look at some of the qualities he has as a blocker and, some of the things that he can do in the run game, I think that you have to look at this guy and say, man, he's a pretty good tight end. I think that when we start looking at tight ends as starters, we expect for them to be Darren Waller. We expect for them to be George Kittle. And that's a good thing, if you got a tight end that can pass catch like that. Those guys are some dogs. But, when you have a tight end that can actually block, because that's really what their position really is about, and blocking and also, catching the ball as well. But it's not like a tight end is really designed to take over a game like that. Like, you have a few that can take over a game. We've had one in the past with Jimmy Graham, but a lot of these tight ends, if they taking over a game, that's what makes them so special. But I just think that when we see guys like Kittle, when we see guys like Kelsey taking over games, we expect for our tight ends to do the same thing. But that's not always the case. All right. Some guys are really good pass catchers and they're very instrumental to their team's offense. And then guys that are really good blockers and that'll probably catch a pass in the red zone like a Josh Hill did back in the day. And they're still extremely instrumental to a team's offensive success. But we're going to go ahead and go to Josh. Josh, how you doing, man?
Hey, what's up, brother? How you doing?
Man, I'm doing all right, man. Thank you for being a part of the show. What you got for us, man?
You can hear me on my mic, okay?
Yeah, I can hear you, man.
Okay, so before I get to the Saints draft, there's a couple of things I want to address with you, TJ.
Okay, what you got?
Because you're not wrong very often, but you're wrong about this stuff.
Okay, what you got?
You're wrong about the Ravens disrespecting Lamar Jackson.
Okay,
and I will tell you. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Why do you say that?
Okay, because they are the Baltimore Ravens. See, the one thing you have not factored in is that the Ravens have proven over and over again that they can have big success without a star quarterback.
Right.
Lamar is a superstar quarterback, no question. Top 5 or at least top 6 or 7, no question.
Right.
But the Ravens took Joe Flacco to the Super Bowl.
Right.
They know that they don't have to pay a superstar quarterback in order to be successful and even get to the Super Bowl. So from the Ravens standpoint, they're just like, well, we don't have to pay. It's not an act of disrespect. Now, as far as the rest of the league disrespecting Lamar, you got a little bit more there. Okay. That's a whole different thing. But the Ravens, they've been having big success with average quarterbacks for 20 years now. So it's understandable why they wouldn't want to pay Lamar, even though he is a superstar. They would probably do the same thing to Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
So I just wanted to address that with you, man, because I was thinking about that the other night. And if this were any other team, yeah, but the Ravens, they know they can get places with average quarterbacks, so they're not going to pay a quarterback no matter how much of a superstar he is. So I'll let you respond to that.
Well, here's what I think about that. I think that when we start looking at teams, like we look at their history and where they came from, and we factor that in. But it's almost like the Saints, for example, right? The Saints with Sean Payton and Drew Brees were a high-powered offense. With Sean Payton and Drew Brees, they were a high-powered offense. With Dennis Allen and Pete Carmichael, not so much. I think that when we look at the Baltimore Ravens, we look at them and they have that, that stigma of being a really good, unstoppable defense, right? And if you look at the Baltimore Ravens, though, Josh, over the last 5 to 6 years, they're not the same defense they were when it comes to like Ray Lewis. They're not the same one with Terrell Suggs. They're not the same defense that when we watched them play the Pittsburgh Steelers, it was like a knockout, drag-out brawl. They still a formidable defense, but they're more of a finesse team at this particular time. And even though that may be their reputation, you still have to understand that guys change, teams change, coordinators change. And I watched my fair share of the Baltimore Ravens last season. That is not the same defense, and you're not going to be able to maintain that level of success, the same way that you once did. They just got Odell Beckham Jr., but a lot of the offense of the Baltimore Ravens, it is not the same way. You had Jacoby Jones that can take the top off the defense. This is during the time when it was there. You had some really good, tight end play. But is not like that anymore. You know, their offense is different, their defense is different. And you have to take that into account. And if you look at the last couple of years of Joe Flacco, like it was starting to waver off. And then Lamar Jackson comes in and he provides that spark. Now, I'm just saying, man, when a guy shows you that he is a really talented player, when he wins a lot of games, and when he can put a team on his back, and, you know, no matter what the situation is, he performs at a high level, you have to take that into account. You can't just say, oh, we're the Baltimore Ravens and we're not going to pay this guy because historically we never paid a quarterback, and we had Trent Dilfer and we had Alvis Gervais and we had things change, man. You have to take into account, like, okay, think about this. They had mediocre quarterback play all those years. But answer this question for me, Josh. What offensive player, what quarterback in that division was absolutely dominant during that time besides maybe Roethlisberger? Cincinnati didn't really have too much, they didn't have anything before Burrow came.
They did. They had Akili Smith, the greatest quarterback of all time. Anyway.
You had Andy Dalton, but you had so many different guys that were just average, right? So it wasn't like they had to account for like dominant offenses. Now you got guys like Joe Burrow. I don't know what Kenny Pickett is going to end up being towards the end of the season. He started to come alive a little bit. And then, you still got other guys, within that division. So all I'm saying is you're going to have to be able to fight fire with fire. I don't think Deshaun Watson is going to be that terrible. I think that he's probably going to be much better. These guys can put up points. And if you're sitting up here saying, okay, man, we had Joe Flacco, he was average, they're going to get you, they're going to blow you out. You got to have a quarterback that's going to be able to go toe-to-toe with Burrow, go toe-to-toe with Deshaun Watson. It's not the same way. The dominant defense the Baltimore Ravens had is a thing of the past. Number one, even if they did have some of those guys, they couldn't even be that dominant anymore because of how the rules are set up. The rules are set up for the offense to score points and the defense to basically, to not touch a quarterback, not really physically tackle a wide receiver. So you have to take all that into account. I agree with what you're saying. Like, if this was the NFL from 07, 08, I think that you can do that. But you have to account for the firepower at the quarterback position of each one of these teams in the AFC North. And you got to pay a guy like this because, he's so dynamic. And he can go toe-to-toe with some of the best in the North, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, you gave me a much better argument than I was expecting, but you always give good arguments, TJ. So, props to you, man. But as far as the Saints draft, right? Mm-hmm. I haven't been following the draft that closely, so I'm just going to jump on the bandwagon here and just say they just need to focus on the line. And if we get something good at other positions like receivers, so be it. But we should really just focus on the line, starting linebackers, backup linebackers, all that sort of stuff. And because we're basically set at everything else. Our offensive line is better than people think it is. I think it's going to gel a lot better next year, but our defensive line still needs a whole lot of work.
Right. I agree with that.
So, I really think 70% of what the Saints do in any round should be defensive line based. And again, this is not to say you completely shut other stuff out. If you get a chance to get a really good corner, get them. If a chance to get a really good receiver comes up, get them. But I just feel like stack the D-line as much as you possibly can in this draft, including like the rotation guys and everything like that.
Right.
And the rest of the team is already pretty well set. So we should have some real good success this year.
Right. Well, I agree with you about helping, in addressing the defensive line. I often said this, and I'm going to continue to say it. I just think that they start a little bit too slow at the beginning of the season, getting pressure on the quarterback. And I think that they need a guy that can be, that can set the tone. And I haven't seen that, over the last couple of years. Now, towards the end of the season, down the stretch, when it seems like the chemistry is there and it seems like they're getting pressure then, but I just think that the biggest issues that the Saints have faced over the last 3 to 4 years is the inability to start fast. Like, you have to start fast. Your defense can't, wait 4 and 5 weeks in order for them to become elite. You have to be able to set this tone early. And I think that is one of the biggest issues that has plagued the New Orleans Saints. They end up finding themselves in a hole, being 2-4 or like 2-2 or something like that. Like they find themselves being in a hole, and then all of a sudden they're trying to dig their way out of it, trying to, spend the first 4 weeks figuring it out. They need to hit the ground running. And you hit the ground running by understanding that you need help on the edge. You need to embark on the present day NFL, not drafting just a guy because he has long wingspan. He's 6'6", 6'7". Yeah, he may be 6'6", 6'7", Josh, but is he getting to the quarterback? Does his motor continuously run hot, or, like this guy takes plays off? You got to be able to account for that. And I think it's too much of the possibility of what a guy can be instead of what a guy actually is, especially when it comes to the first round. So hopefully the Saints can look at a guy for what he actually is and what he has shown you in big moments throughout his collegiate career. And maybe that can translate to the pros versus, the guy showed me some sparks. Yeah, but he got injured around week 11 of last season during the last year of his college career. But we can build something with that. No, give me a guy that has shown on a high level that his motor runs hot and he can give you what you need defensively and be that guy that you need him to be to possibly be that successor in case, Cam Jordan decides to hang it up or you decide, to move on from Cam Jordan next season.
All good points, man. All good points. So listen, I will let you go in a minute. So I just wanted to close out with a couple of good, positive personal announcements on my half. Mm-hmm. I have now crossed 150 pounds, so I've now lost more than 150 pounds.
Wow, that's awesome, man. And congratulations to you, man.
And I just closed. I've been working on my grip strength.
Mm-hmm.
I just closed a gripper that is easily one of the top 15 hardest grippers in the world to close. So I got some hands, buddy. I get a hold of you. You're done. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But no, I lost a lot of grip strength from when I got into my car crash.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started getting these grippers to get my grip strength back. And it's worked wonders, and I've gone beyond. I've got some serious grip power now. But
man, that's awesome, man. That's awesome, man. We talking about moving the chains on third down. Maybe we can sign you.
Sign me.
Be the chain mover. There it is right there. We done solved the tight end position.
Absolutely. I'm your man. But hey, I wanted to ask you, can I talk to you offline a little bit later? Because the reason for that is I just ordered my very first green screen. I'm not sure how to use those things. So if you could give me some help with that, that'd be really cool.
Okay.
But yeah, that's about all I got for you today, I guess.
Okay, man, that sounds good, man. And like I said, just let me know. Anything I can do to help. I'll be glad to do so, man.
Okay, brother. Thank you. All
right, no problem. You take it easy.
All right, bye.
Yeah, man. Shouts out to it, man. I see a lot of people, that's starting channels and doing the right things that need to be done to make sure that the videos have high quality. A green screen is extremely important. Green screen is important because number one, you can project different things off of it, and also like if you were to do some editing, it's much easier. It's much easier to do edits when you working with a green screen than it is with actual background. So anybody that's out here, that's thinking about doing podcasting or even like if you're just, taking pictures or something like that, photography, want to make sure that you have a green screen background. That'll be extremely helpful with that. Before we get to Jerry, I'm gonna read a comment. It says, I like the tight ends that can do both. The earliest tight end that can do that was Dicker. Those are the types I like, and there are a few good tight ends in this draft. Yeah, I mean, look, you got a lot of good tight ends that can pass, catch, and block and stuff like that, but man, it's such a rare find. Like, that's why you don't see too many of these guys actually doing it at a high level, like a Kelsey or a Kittle, like a Darren Waller. Like, you really don't see too many of those guys that just out here just doing it like that. When teams find guys like that, I mean, it's a rarity, man. And that's the reason why it's such a matchup nightmare. I mean, when when Graham was here, he was such a matchup nightmare because you can be able to line him up at receiver, like him going and him just going out there, catching the ball, really good catch radius, good wingspan, good vertical leap. So when you got a guy like that, it's a plus, but they're so hard to find. I mean, they're so hard to find, to have that guy with that animal instinct that can basically catch virtually anything like he is a wide receiver. But let's go ahead and go to Jerry. Jerry, how you doing, man?
What's going on, TJ Jones? How you doing, my brother?
Man, I'm doing just fine, Jerry. Thank you so much for being a part of the State of the Saints podcast. How you been, man?
Been doing good, man. I'm just thinking about you when you're going to open up the phone lines again so we can talk a little Saints talk.
Yeah, man, it's been a while, man, since I, opened up the phone lines and stuff like that. But definitely felt like it was, right time to do it today. But we talked quite a bit about like some of the, the mock draft, some of the positions that the Saints may need to address. What are your thoughts on that, man, or anything that you have on your mind right now?
Well, TJ, first I want to talk about this. But before I do that, shouts out to everybody in the chat. Hope everybody is doing well. Hope all is well. Right. But I want to take you, but TJ, I want to take you back to March the 6th. Now, everybody was talking about there's a possibility that we might get Derek Carr to come to New Orleans. Right. And I've been hearing about that. And then that particular day, I was out and about, and I mean, phones were just blowing up, text messages coming in. Email, I mean, everywhere talking about we signed Derek Carr to 4 years. I'm like, wait a minute, hold on, what are you talking about? Derek Carr? You talking about from the Raiders? He said, and he's like, yeah. I said, oh, and then everybody went all out, TJ. Everybody went all out. And now everybody was talking about a possibility we might draft Hendon Hook. I'm like, before I go any further, TJ, I want and for everybody that think that we're going to get Hendon Hooker from Tennessee to be our future quarterback, I'm here to tell y'all that is not going to happen because somebody else might get Hooker before we do. Right. And I agree. And another thing, and the Saints did the exact right thing and not snatch Aaron Rodgers or Lamar Jackson to be our next quarterback because, you have to wait like days and weeks and months to see what's going to be Aaron's next move or Lamar's next move. The Saints said, you know what? We ain't going to worry about those quarterbacks. We're going to go ahead and get Carr and sign him immediately. And the Saints jump right on it and then didn't hesitate to take no time to get Carr to come to New Orleans. And look what we got right now. Right. Yeah. I mean, look, I think that the moves that the New Orleans Saints have made and some of the guys' willingness to come here had a lot to do with Derek Carr, whether people like it or not. Like, guys want to feel like they got a quarterback that can help them win. And, by him signing with the New Orleans Saints, I think that it made a lot of guys more open to wanting to come and play with the New Orleans Saints and contribute. So I feel this way. There's a few things that you said that I definitely agree with. When it comes to Hendon Hooker, like I think that Hendon Hooker is a guy that is very underrated. I think if people aren't really paying that much attention to him is because he got hurt. But look, this guy is an accurate passer. He's a very knowledgeable quarterback. And I'd rather have a quarterback that comes into the league with a high completion percentage versus a guy with, he got a lot of promise like an Anthony Richardson and the completion percentage ain't really there. And you just mesmerized by the fact he can throw the ball 75 yards or he can throw the ball so high it can hit the top of the roof. Like all that stuff right there that's fine. You know what I'm saying? That's cool. Yeah, like, I saw that. For views and likes. But talking with Hendon Hooker, like seeing how this dude operate, somebody is going to get a really special quarterback. And if he goes to the right situation, I'm not going to say he's going to be a dominant quarterback, but he definitely can be a quarterback that could be your franchise quarterback for a decade. Like seriously, that's how good I feel like that guy is. But I don't think the New Orleans Saints are going to do it. I think the Saints are committed to Derek Carr. I think that when you're drafting, Jerry, like the first 2 rounds and you're drafting a quarterback, that starting quarterback that you may have, his ego might be a little bit touched by that. We've seen it happen with Carson Wentz and Jalen Hurts. We've seen it with Jordan Love and Aaron Rodgers. So I don't see the New Orleans Saints drafting a quarterback in the first 2 rounds. I would be shocked. I mean, absolutely shocked if they was to do something like that. Like it would be shocking if the Saints draft a quarterback within the first 2 rounds.
Yeah, it would be an immediate shock. But and also not only that you signed Carter 4 years, but you also brought back Jameis Winston.
And exactly.
Because he wanted to stick around in New Orleans because he liked the effort that's there. He liked what's going on over there. And the signing of Carr and then the signing of Winston to return. I mean, that's a big plus because you're talking about somebody that's going to take you to the next level. And I'm not talking about Super Bowl right now. I just want the Saints to have a successful winning season. Hopefully make the playoffs or not. I just want them to do better.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I want out of them, TJ.
Yeah. I think that if you don't see like a vast improvement of this team, I think that you're really going to have to question, like, is this the right front office for this? Because, man, you look around, they're not playing a first place schedule. Okay. I mean, you're basically playing like a third place schedule next season. It's not like you're playing the creme de la creme. And I do understand that teams get better every single year, but the way that the schedule is set up for teams that may have what they call an unsuccessful season coming to the following season, they set you up for success. Like, okay, man, you didn't make the playoffs. Yeah, you're picking in the top 10 theoretically, but look, we're going to set you up. You get this quarterback, you get this running back, you get some receivers, and you can make the playoffs. If you're not in the discussion based on the quarterbacks, based on the teams that are in the NFC right now, I think that we have to question, like, is this the right group of individuals that are leading the Saints post Drew Brees, post Sean Payton? Like, seriously, like I know some people like, man, I don't care if we make the playoffs. I do, because if they don't make the playoffs, man, I think they have the right staff. And I think that's well within our rights to say that.
Right. And also, and before I leave, TJ, I do like the signing of Jamal Williams for 3 years. With the Kamara situation, you need somebody, you need a good running back, to kind of carry that load if something happens to Alvin. Right. And Jamal Williams was the best pickup in running back that we got. He was the best pickup, I like it.
Yeah.
That way you have somebody that'll go like second and like 3 or third and 1 or something like that. And you got and Williams can do that. He can do all of that, because I was watching film study of him when he was in Detroit.
Right.
And the dude's just elusive, and I like that pickup.
Yeah, I like it too, man. I think that he's a tone setter. I think it tells us as fans and onlookers that this team is trying to be physical. You don't sign a guy like Jamal Williams if you just expect him to be like a style and finesse type team. I think that they're trying to be a little bit more physical. And I wouldn't just stop at Jamal Williams, Jerry. I wouldn't. Like, if you look at Alvin Kamara, regardless to how this court situation pans out, I still feel like you may need to, well, not may, I still think they need to draft a running back, because Alvin Kamara, even though he has played, he has been injured. Like, he dealt with a rib injury. A year before that, he was dealing with a knee injury.
Yeah.
So what you have is a running back that has shown that he can miss some games. And the Saints have been, they signed David Johnson. They signed Ito Benjamin. They signed Latavius Murray. They got all these different guys that they had to fill in. They had to come in on a Tuesday and be playing on a Sunday. And you need to get yourself some depth at that running back position. And you get yourself a young bull, and you got Jamal Williams, and you got the veteran that is Alvin Kamara. I think that you will have yourself a really good three punch combination of guys that can do so many different things, and also it makes you prepared in case somebody was to go down.
Right. And I'm gonna say this right here, TJ, and I'm gonna jet out of here.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what these idiots say out here, that's in the media world, no matter what they say out there, I'm gonna say this in closing.
Mm-hmm.
The Saints deserve an automatic A+ from yours truly. I don't care what grade they put us at. They deserve an A+ from me. And that's all I got.
Message.
I agree with you, man. Yeah, I agree, man. They definitely deserve a better grade than what they gave them, which was a C. I don't know, man. I just think that, look, in this
they must be smoking
media,
something or drinking something, TJ.
I don't even know if they smoking or drinking something. I think, Jerry, we live in a social media world where outrage is key, right? Because the outrage and, like putting controversial comments or controversial grades, it makes people gravitate to that particular post or that particular video, and people are going to make comments about it. And it's not even about being right. It's not even about doing research. It's not about any of that stuff. It's about how many people are looking at this. And I just think that the national media understands how passionate Saints fans are. They understand that. And they understand that Saints fans ride for their team. So they purposely say these things to try to ignite this fire that Saints fans have, because they know that Saints fans are going to come out and call them out on it. They don't care about it being called out. What they care about is you retweeting it and calling it out, because it helps them elevate their brand. So I take what they say with a grain of salt, because I understand, really, honestly, why they do what they do. A lot of them, they don't follow the Saints. They don't follow the Saints. They don't know Saints football like that, but they know that the Saints have a very passionate fan base. And if they don't believe it, look no further than what the Saints fan base did with Nick Wright. I mean, that just tells you everything you need to know about the passion of New Orleans Saints fans.
You mean Nick wrong, TJ?
Exactly. Yeah, that right there shows you like the passion that the Saints fans have. And if you call out their team or you question any moves that they make, like, you better come with it and you better come prepared, or if not, they're going to call you out on it. No doubt about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but Jerry, thank you so much. Appreciate you chiming in. You got anything else before you go?
No, TJ, that's all I got for right now. And I'm just happy to talk to you, and good to see you, and good. Hope all is well with you and the family. And shouts out to everybody in the chat. Hope all is well with y'all and your family and friends. And then and I pray for y'all every day.
Yeah.
Also,
man.
And send special prayers up to the people up there in Rolling Fork, Mississippi. I mean,
man.
we saw what happened up there, and sorry to hear about the loss for your some of your friends, TJ. So my prayers go out to, and condolences go out to that family as well.
Yeah, man. I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much, and we definitely continue to pray for those beautiful and wonderful people out there in Rolling Fork, Mississippi. Jerry, thank you so much, and call back anytime, man.
Yes, sir, TJ. You take care. Y'all have a blessed one.
All right, you too. All right. Yeah, and shouts out once again to Rolling Fork. I know they had the funeral services for my former coworker, Ms. Wanda Early Kelly, this past weekend. Man, I tell you, man, I gotta kind of remove myself from that type of situation, man. Just looking and knowing that I just know all those individuals that went through that. That's hurtful. That's definitely hurtful to know that. And, but man, my prayers continue to go out to those fine folks, man. They according to everything that I heard, they're supposed to get assistance, from the government and stuff like that. Hopefully, the government stands by their word, because those are beautiful people out there, man. And, they didn't deserve what happened to them. They didn't. And if that happened, I would hope that, they get together and help those individuals pick up the pieces, because that's what this world is supposed to be about. But let me go ahead and finish it up. We got Money Mick. Money, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Hey, man. How you doing? Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon to you, man. Thank you for chiming in here on the State of the Saints podcast. What you got for us?
Hey, man. No problem, man. I've been waiting on this open phone call show for like, sheesh, man. Feel like forever, man. You don't know how much we love this, man. We really do. You know,
Hey,
between the Knicks.
yeah. Let me just say this, man. Like, I had issues with the soundboard for I don't know how long, and I haven't really been doing shows at home because I'm kind of remodeling my office at home. So I kind of want to just kind of, reserve that until when the season starts. So I finally got the soundboard fixed here at the station. So hopefully we'll have more phone calls and open line conversations like this going forward. But yeah, go ahead, man.
Man, most definitely, man. Like I said, we Saints fans, we appreciate this, man, especially with the Nick Wright debacle when all this happened. You know, that boy was losing his mind, boy.
Yeah, man, he'd have lost it, man. It's gone.
Hey, man. So just to kind of get into it real quick, one of the things that is cool about this draft and what this coaching staff is, they're going to draft a little bit differently. You know, when Sean Payton was here, Sean Payton had time to develop players to basically, go with the thing that was a little uncertain, a Peyton Turner or Davenport. This time around, we know Dennis Allen knows they don't have much time, so we can at least be certain that we're going to get, the for sure thing, or as for sure as you can be. You know what I mean? When it comes to drafting players. So, these guys know they don't have a lot of time. I think, man, in the first round, I can see us drafting maybe a defensive end, a D lineman. I can see that kind of happen early on. What I would like to see happen, I think I mentioned this to you once, I'm not sure, but I would really like to see Peyton Turner gets moved to the inside and we draft a more athletic defensive end for the outside. I just feel like he has that bigger frame. I watched him when he was at my alma mater, Houston. Has a big frame, man. I think he'll be really, really good in run support and kind of rushing from the interior. But that's just, just my opinion of it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he plays some a little bit of some interior out there. So, I mean, he has experience playing both inside and outside. And looking at him, like the last time I seen him, I think it was maybe like a week ago. I saw that, he seemed like, he's a larger guy. Seemed like, he got a little weight on, like he's close to 300. So I agree with you. I think that you need to work and see what he can do on the inside.
Yeah, I remember you and I talked, and we were like, man, we kind of want to get these more athletic pass rushers. But during Dennis Allen, during the coaching meeting, during the regular NFLPA, he was saying how the Saints have always kind of drafted these bigger guys because, like you were saying, that matches kind of what happens in our division. So that's why they draft these kind of lengthier and longer guys. So I think they may still continue that trend. I think a position of need nobody's really talking about. I think we still got to be kind of looking for linebackers. I know we have that guy we got him in the 5th round last year, but I think he's more like a pass rusher. I'm blanking on his name.
You talking about DeMarco Jackson? Linebacker out of Appalachian State.
Yeah. But man, I hate to say it, God forbid. DeMario has been an Iron Man for us, but he is kind of getting up in age, and so you would kind of like to see the Saints draft a position. Another middle linebacker just to kind of develop over the next year or so. I think QB, I think you did a great analysis. I'm glad that you were talking about Clayton Tune because not a lot of people are mentioning him, like I said, out of my alma mater. But I can see him getting picked up by us in the 3rd or 4th round, and I wouldn't be mad at that at all.
Right.
That guy, man, he's big, strong arm, but I've also seen him make intermediate throws as well. And he's a big physical guy, and that's something the Saints could use. I think Derek Carr may have maybe 2-3 great years left, and you just kind of want to have that security blanket, man. Just kind of some kind of future development.
Right.
Lastly, I'm glad that you mentioned Lucas Krull because man, Adam Troutman ain't it, man. I don't see it. I don't see it getting any better, man. And I kind of miss having that dynamic, pass catching tight end, man. And I hope Lucas Krull come around. If not, man, I can see maybe 5th round you go get yourself another tight end, big body tight end that can also pass catch. I think we got enough run blocking tight ends,
Yeah. Well, I look at it, man. Look, I just think that the expectation of what Adam Troutman was supposed to be, like, I think that we look at it that way. Like, and I don't know. Like, I look at Juwan Johnson. Juwan Johnson is your pass catching tight end, but it's like you had Benjamin Watson, right? You had like Colby Fleener, you had like guys like that was supposed to be like your pass catchers, and then you had Josh Hill, right? Josh Hill was your pass blocker. He was your red zone guy. You know, like he was a guy that, you know, for some apparent reason, the same play always seemed to work where he would, you know, catch the ball down the right sideline every single time. You know what I'm saying? To put you to go, like, that was your guy. And I think that Adam Troutman has become that guy. And I look, I have no problem with it. Like, I can understand, like, if he was out there, like, just getting, like, you know, pushed back flat on his behind. But a lot of what I see when it comes to the run game, a lot of what I see, like, when it comes to, like, opening up big holes and opportunities, he has something to do with it. So it's hard for me to sit up here and just be like, oh, man, we need a new one. I just think that, okay, if you can get yourself a tight end like George Kittle or like a Kelsey who never have to lead a field, awesome. But I just think that those guys are so special because you don't see too many of them out there. So I'm not mad at Adam Troutman because he ain't giving me 70 catches a season. You know, I'd be mad even worse, like if he wasn't giving me 70 catches and he was just basically whiffing on blocks every single time. So he's giving you what you need as a tight end, as a pass blocking and a run blocking tight end. But maybe, you know, if you want to get like a pass catcher or something like that, I can understand. But Juwan Johnson has really been coming on. So think about this. I feel like if you was to get a guy like that, then what would happen with Juwan Johnson? He probably wouldn't see the field.
That is true, man. You know what it is? We're impatient. We still looking for Jimmy. That's bottom line. The Saints fans, we looking for Jimmy, man. We've been looking for Jimmy for years. And I would like to see them use Juwan Johnson more. I never understood why Sean Payton. It's like when Sean Payton knew he had talent, he always, for some reason, kind of slowed him down a little bit, or didn't, you know, slow the development a little bit. I would have loved to see Juwan Johnson get used more when Payton was there. But yeah, you're right. He is coming on. I just, like I said, man, we still looking for Jimmy, and that's the issue that most Saints fans we have. You know, we just want that explosive kind of guy that, you know, makes big plays and kind of do everything. So we'll see. This will be, you know, the first year of Juwan Johnson with Derek Carr, and maybe that's a huge difference that he can make. But one more thing I want to run by you. I mentioned this to you on Twitter. What I'm wondering is maybe, just maybe, we've been a little bit too hard on Pete Carmichael. And the reason I say that is because Pete's been under Sean Payton for years. He knows Sean Payton's offense. He knows he can run that offense. But what I'm wondering is, what we see with a lot of defensive coaches, when they're defensive head coaches, they often like their offense to be conservative to kind of balance out their defense. This is something that, you know, they kind of like these tough-nosed offenses, running the ball, not turning the ball over much on offense, and kind of, you know, you got to get these low-scoring games. And I'm wondering if Dennis Allen kind of kept the leash on Pete Carmichael as far as the ability of what he can do. That's what I'm wondering. You know, when I kind of went back and looked through pretty much every game last year, I'm kind of wondering, the thing where we kind of shot ourselves in the foot, we never had that true identity. And when we're turning the ball over, it kind of throws things off. So I'm wondering, and in most games last year would nip and tuck. And so I'm wondering if that was kind of Dennis Allen's philosophy, like, hey, you know, we're only running this, we're only running these type of plays, you know, kind of high percentages plays. Like, he didn't let him fully kind of blossom to what we could have been. I'm wondering.
I mean, that's an interesting point. You know, I think that when you look at the Saints and a lot of the injuries that they sustained on the offensive side of the ball, and you look at Dennis Allen, him being a defensive-minded coach, he probably was looking at the defense being a catalyst for the team. And, you know, maybe just looking at Pete Carmichael as, okay, man, look, let's just bend but not break. Okay, if, you know, like, y'all can't get the third down, let's go ahead and punt and let's just play a defensive game. But I also look at that, and I also just look at, and I've been saying this for a while now, when I look at Dennis Allen last year, you had a lot of guys that were a part of that coaching staff that he didn't hire. Like he was like it was just a plug and place type deal, right? So I think that it was more so like him trying to make the right decision, him trying to make sure that, he keep the thing afloat last season without, I'm saying, a bunch of like back talk, man. If it was me, if it was 3rd down and 5, I would have went for this, that, and the third. This year, I feel like I think that this year you're probably going to see a little bit more aggressiveness from the offense, a little bit more, I don't think that you're going to see too many times where they're not going to be as aggressive, because I think that this year you can tell the way that Dennis Allen is approaching this season, the way that he's talking to the media, the way that he's talking about players is completely different than what it was last season. It's like last season he was just trying to be, a little bit political, saying the right things. This season it seems like, he has this mind frame like, this is my team and we're gonna do things my way, and he's more comfortable within himself. He doesn't have to prove anything anymore. Like, okay, man, I'm gonna prove that I'm the right guy for the job. He's the right guy for the job because the majority of the people that's on his staff now he appointed, so they're going to fall in line. So I think like last year was more so about what would be the right thing to do in this situation. What are the analytics going to prove to us? I think that he is probably going to give Pete Carmichael more opportunity to run the offense the way that he wants to run. But at the same time, I do feel like if you're going to run the offense like Sean Payton, be a disciple of Sean Payton, I don't think that you have to have too many of Sean Payton qualities, because I can't remember exactly who called in, but they made a very interesting point, right? Getting guys who fit a certain mold, right? You know what I'm saying? A guy who is a playmaker. You ain't just drafting a guy because he can run a 4-2 and he can take the top off the defense, and that's all you count on him to do. You're going to have a bunch of guys, to me, that are going to be able to do a multifaceted thing. So that opens up endless possibilities for a guy like Pete Carmichael. So I think that's what you're saying when it comes to like Pete Carmichael. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if, last year it was more like Dennis Allen stopping him, or just the fact that he just wasn't good enough. But this season, I think that if it doesn't pan out, I think we pretty much know exactly what we got in Pete Carmichael.
Yeah, I think so too, man. I think Derek Carr, although like you were saying with the Derek Carr and Jameis Winston's comparison, I'm not a fan of how they did Jameis Winston at all. But I do think Derek Carr, statistically he's very similar to Jameis Winston. The difference is I think he can be a little more clutch or a little more conservative, and sometimes you need that. Sometimes you need, you don't need to go for the deep pass all the time, or you can take the high efficiency throws, and I think that may fit a little bit more what the Saints is doing. Also, he has more games under his belt as a starter, and so that experience comes there to where I feel like automatically the offense is going to be better. And the biggest competition we have right now is the Panthers with them rebuilding. But I think, man, of the Saints, I'm gonna put it like this. We know Dennis Allen is the type of guy, as far as with his players, as far as we can see, he has to go for the sure thing. He's not the developmental guy. He doesn't have time for it. And so, like you were saying, even with his coaching staff, he can't develop his coaching staff. He has to go with what he feels is for sure. And so I feel like if everything's kind of in line, everything's, falling in place, he has that certainty in his staff, and maybe he can trust these guys to kind of make the decision. Trust Ronald Curry with the development of the QBs. Trust Pete Carmichael a little bit more. Maybe things he can kind of focus a little more on defense. Like we kind of almost got to keep the realms on him. Like we can't have these high expectations. Like he's just going to develop these guys and just be this great leader. We kind of it almost has to be all perfect,
Right.
And I think we're a little bit closer to that this year.
Well, I'll put it to you this way. Last season, you can kind of make an excuse for Dennis Allen. Like, man, it wasn't really his coaching staff. It was more like plug and play, like I just mentioned. This season, you can't say that anymore.
Yeah,
you can't. Like this is, to me, this is the last year in which people are just going to be like, okay, you know what I'm saying? Let's see what this guy has. After this season, no matter what the New Orleans Saints do, no matter who they bring in, no matter I don't care if they get one of the most highly touted free agents or they get the most sure thing quarterback that you ever seen if the Derek Carr experience don't pan out. If Dennis Allen does not have the Saints in playoff contention, there is nothing that they can do to convince a Saints fan that he's the guy. Like, seriously. Like, they might as well just ball it up, throw it in the trash. Like, the Saints fans will never trust Dennis Allen fully. And they have to know that. And I think that's the reason why they're making the decisions. That's the reason why they went out here and got Derek Carr. That's the reason why they're out here trying to get athletic interior linemen like Saunders and Shepard. They're getting those guys because they understand that this is make or break right here. This is make or break. There is no reason why the New Orleans Saints shouldn't make the playoffs. Like, you can be a 6 seed, a 7 seed, but there is no reason based on how the NFC looks right now, based on the quarterback play, based on like who is like the top quarterbacks within his position. The Saints defensively and what they have shown should be able to neutralize any quarterback in this division, in this conference, period. And if you can't do that, then there's nothing that you can bring or nothing you can say to this Saints fan base that's going to convince anybody that Dennis Allen is good enough to lead this team going forward.
Yeah, I agree, man. 100. You know what? One of the things that kind of confused me too. I've always wondered how come they didn't give Doug Marrone a chance at play calling over Pete Carmichael, because I'm like, you have the experience there. You have, he used to be a head coach. This is a little curious to me, but man, you absolutely right. This is make or break year, and man, we can't take another year of mediocrity, man.
No, you can't. You can't. That's it. This is it.
Hey, last thing. I wonder, do you think maybe later on in the draft or undrafted, you go get yourself another kicker to kind of put pressure on Will Lutz too?
Oh, yes. Yes. I mean, stay tuned for the next couple episodes of this. Because, I definitely, man, look, that you kind of stealing my fire with that one. But yes, I definitely wholeheartedly agree that they need to do something about that. But like I said, I got an episode in the future that talks about that in detail. No doubt about it, though. 100%.
I'm gonna let you have it, man. Can't wait, man. Hopefully you do another one of these on draft night, man. That's gonna be interesting.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. I had an opportunity like to go to the NFL draft, but like I said, I enjoy like doing the live reaction show. This will be I think our third year doing this, man. So we definitely gonna be live on draft night. Breaking down the NFL draft. So if you're not doing anything, man, make sure that you stop by.
Oh man, I would love to, man. That Cesar Ruiz rant is forever gonna be a part of this State of the Saints podcast history, man.
Yeah, hey man, that was one of my most legendary rants right there. One I actually enjoy. Like I really have an issue like going back and like watching myself, but that one right there, man, that right there was something I even enjoyed. So
boys thought we was about to get a quarterback. Boy, I remember that Lamar draft. We thought, we about to go get Lamar.
Oh my goodness.
Marcus Davenport.
Yep. Yeah, man. But hopefully we have like a draft like how we did last year, man, where we got Chris Olave and everybody was happy about it. But I mean, the difference with this one, Mick, like you can't really get mad at any direction they go in, right? Because it's not like it's certain needs that they have, but if they were to draft a certain guy, it's like, you know what I'm saying? They can use help on every side of the ball, offense, defense, like so.
Yeah,
it's wide open.
I know you got to go, man. One thing I just want to leave food for thought. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you said this or not, but man, this has been on my mind. Mm-hmm. We really, I think Trevor Penning, we should slide him in at guard.
Oh yeah,
and because look, I'm not trying to put no bad jinx out there. But how aggressive he is, I just hope this dude doesn't get us a penalty or something in a big time moment for doing too much. Right. And we know that he struggles oftentimes with like smaller pass rushers coming off the edge. So he would be fantastic like as a guard. And I forgot who's the guy we had at left tackle last year.
You're talking about James Hurst.
James Hurst, man. Yeah, keep James Hurst there or maybe draft yourself somebody. But I think, man, I think we really should have considered that. I think he'll be outstanding there because I've never been a fan of Andres Pete, but Andrews Reed is soft, man. I'm sorry. He does well in run blocking, man. But man, yeah, you talking about potential wasted.
Yeah.
But anyway, man.
Yeah, I think that I agree with you. I've mentioned that before. I mean, I don't think it's considered popular opinion, but I just think that his mindset, his motor, his ability to maul people off, ball people like he does, I think that he will be a good fit at the guard position. But we'll see, man. I mean, look, he had some injuries last season. It kind of stunned his growth a little bit, in that position. We've seen some positive things. He got better every game. So we'll see what they decide to do, man. But I mean, I definitely agree. You definitely want to keep a guy like that on the field, but where you put him is imperative, going forward. But Mick, thank you very much, man. I appreciate the call. Call back anytime, man.
Yes, sir. Take care, my friend.
All right, you too. Yeah, I mean, look, there's so many things the Saints can do with the NFL draft this season. Like, there's so many. I look at this draft, it's not like a couple of years ago where the Saints just desperately needed a corner, right? Or they desperately needed some help on offensive line. Like it's like it's wide open. Like they addressed a lot of these positions that they needed to fill, and they got some guys that are like, they just given the opportunity, they can seize it, but they haven't gotten the opportunity to show what they have. I like that. But it also opens up the endless possibilities. Like, you don't just have to go in one direction. And I have to give the Saints credit with that. The Saints have really done their due diligence and really have been signing guys that are an upgrade for the guys that they lost. I can respect that. I'm going to read a few more, and then we're going to go ahead and get up out of here. Let's see. It says time started existing after the Big Bang. The first smartwatch was created. What are we talking about here? Let's see. All possibilities, but I think Hooker will still be there. I don't think so. I think you not take into account how good that guy actually is. That guy is really good. Somebody gonna draft that guy. And the only reason why he ain't really just out there right now and people aren't paying that much attention to him because of the injuries, and he's not able to do a lot of things right now. But I'm telling you, like, I think that if he was upright, never got injured, this whole Will Levis, Anthony Richardson experience, I don't think that those guys would be getting talked about as much as Hendon is. That was the first time we can remember in a while that we wanted someone and went out and got them, which we've heard DA say that twice. We wonder if we'll get to hear those words again. Well, we'll see. I think that the Saints aren't going to really spend too much time on trying to get projects. I think they're going to spend time trying to get guys that are considered a sure thing. And I think that if the Saints like somebody, like we've seen, like they will do everything they possibly can to bring them in. I mean, it started last year with Deshaun Watson, even though it didn't work out for him. They did everything they possibly could do before, Cleveland snuck in the late night hour and got him. But the Saints were really trying to aggressively pursue this guy. So with that, I think that, it's a continuation of what they did last season. So there we go. There we go, man. Slim says, I have a feeling that the Saints will trade up in the draft because if the Saints want a player, they go get him. Yep. And that's the reason why I had the Saints selecting Nolan Smith. I think that Nolan Smith could be that guy for the New Orleans Saints. And if the Saints feel like he is that guy to be the future of this franchise when it comes to the pass rush, they're going to get him. No doubt about it. But I want to say thank you all for checking out the State of the Saints podcast. Shouts out to everybody that chimed in. Shouts out to Chosen. Shouts out to Josh. Shouts out to Jerry. Shouts out to Money Mick. Shouts out to all the individuals that chimed in to the show. I promise we're going to have more shows like this going forward. I enjoyed this, man. It's been a while since I had an opportunity to talk to everybody and hear what you all have to think. But, we're going to continue our talks about the Saints mock draft here on the State of the Saints podcast channel. Part number 6, we're going to be focusing in on round number 7. Round number 7, the New Orleans Saints have 2 7-round picks. What are they going to do with those picks? We're going to find out. And I look forward to talking to you all about that. Feel free to always chime in, whatever round you feel like, so I'm pretty sure some of you probably did those simulation drafts. You probably have somebody drafting in the 7th round or 5th round. Feel free to always comment and let me know what you think and why did you decide to go with that individual. Also subscribe to the channel, which is youtube.com, search the State of the Saints Podcast Network. Also check us out on facebook.com under the same name, State of the Saints Podcast Network. Hit that like button on your way out. You can also follow yours truly on Twitter at TJAYJones8. And previous episodes available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor FM, and also on Megaphone, because we are a part of the Belly Up Media Podcast Network. Make sure that you follow Belly Up on Twitter, and make sure that you let those guys know that you enjoy the State of the Saints podcast. And if you're a fan of the NFL, there's also different teams that are represented on that channel. If you're a sports fan, there's sports talk for anything that's going on, no matter what type of sports that you're into. Check out Belly Up Media. They definitely have something for you. Till next time, all I got to say is